Hey, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. This time it is another anime deck discussion. I haven't done one of these in a while. I kind of felt bad since I know a lot of you guys really like this, and there's something on my microphone. Anyway, so this deck that we're talking about this time around is the Cookpal or Cookmate. I'm not really sure which one. I think it's Cookpal now, because I think it was Cookmate in the Japanese version to go kind of like draw a comparison to the Entermate or Performapals as they're called over here. So I guess changing to Cookpal makes a lot of sense. This deck is very interesting, and surprisingly, it's gotten quite a bit of like support in the anime because the guy who plays them has actually, up until they started hopping dimensions in Arc V, he was relatively often seen. He was a relatively major character before you started the as he was going around trying to find duels and everything. So he ended up dueling against that guy a lot, and then he became a kind of bit more important character in the tournament arc once the tournament actually started, where he was kind of more relevant, and he got a few more duels in, from what I remember at least. But with that being said, though, this archetype is very interesting in how it works, and how literally everything in the deck is super weak, but their effects are very, I don't know if I would say powerful, but very good to make up for that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the little guys first, and then we're going to talk about the big ones. These are the boss monsters of the deck, or what the deck relies heavily on. And the reason why I'm going to talk about these little guys first is because they're the I'm sorry about this. They're the meat and potatoes of this deck. It's not a pun. You know, no, I'm not sorry. There are going to be plenty of food puns here, okay? Partly because, well, Konami loves their puns and, well, you know, whatever. Anyway, so first up is Cookpal Egong. If this card is destroyed, you can specify one other Cookpal Egong from your hand or graveyard. So this guy, he's a level 1 Earth Fairy, 0 attack, 300 defense. He's okay. Like, really, just okay. If he's destroyed, summon another copy from hand or graveyard. If he were printed, I'd like to see him be able to summon another copy from the deck, and maybe cut out the hand part to make it a bit more balanced. Not maybe graveyard, because I could already see the endless loops, no matter how many times you destroy it. Okay, you have 2 in grave, well, you have 1 on field, 1 in grave. They just keep looping each other. I think a once per turn clause and a ability to summon it from the deck would be really nice. Next up is Cookpal Cluck Wheat. Fairy Earth, 100 attack, 400 defense. If this card is returned from the field to your hand, you can special summon it in attack position. That's kind of interesting. Some of the Cookpal cards require you to bounce your stuff, and yeah, it's interesting. It can help out with just more combos and everything. Next up is Cookpal Puma Potato. I don't even know. Like, seriously, it doesn't even look like a puma. It's just a potato with an angry face and with Pokeballs on it for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so it's another Fairy Earth. I think they're all Fairy Earth. Yeah, they are all Fairy Earth. 600 attack, 300 defense, level 3 this time. If you control 2 or more Cookpal monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. I wish you could summon it in defense, but whatever. Now, for some reason, they go 1, 2, 3, and then they skip 4, and we go straight to 5. Next up is Cookpal Lion Onion. I feel like they should just call it Lionion, because, you know, more puns and it'd be better. So he's a level 5, 200 attack, 1800 defense. Terrible stats for level 5. Like, if you're going to make it more of a defensive level 5, at least give it better defense. So your opponent cannot attack Cookpal monsters except for this one. So if you somehow manage to get 2 of them out, which is a decent amount of fairy support, and since he has low attack power, that means Nova Summoner could summon him. You could actually set up a lock where you can prevent your opponent from attacking all your monsters. With that being said, that's kind of not really what this deck is designed to do, and that is they're designed to lock out your opponent. But with these guys over here, the Royal Cookpals, which is a sub-archetype of the Cookpals, and are the, like, icing on the cake? I don't know, I'm trying to think of terrible food puns here. Anyway, so first and foremost is a level 6, and by the way, they just keep going up like the others. So again, for some reason skipping 4, and I don't think they skipped another level. Yeah, so they just skipped 4 for whatever reason. Anyway, so Royal Cookpal Princess Pudding, level 6 with 300 attack, 100 defense. Very, very bad. If a monster is normal summoned or special summoned to your opponent's active field, you can target one of those monsters. Return discarded to hand, and if you do, destroy that target. Once per turn, you can target one Royal Cookpal monster you control. Double its original attack until the end of this turn. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. And, guess what, guys? They all have that effect. All Royal Cookpals have the exact same effect, and they all have the exact same stat line, with the exception of their defenses, which are different. Princess Pudding here has 100 defense, Prince Curry has 1,000, King Pasta has 1,100, Queen Omelette has 1,500, and King Burger has 1,300. So they all have the exact same effect, and they all have different defenses. Not to interruption, everybody. My sister just had to talk to me real quick. Anyway, so yeah, they all have the exact same effect, and generally the idea of this deck is to swarm the field with Royal Cookpals, use all of their effects to target one of them, double the attack points of that one, and just keep doing it. Because notice how it doesn't say double the original; it just says double that monster's attack points. Sorry, it does say double the original. Wait, what? Once per turn, you can target double. Okay, so then, if that is indeed the effect, then, the guy in the anime cheated, because I remember he summoned out a bunch of these and used all their effects on one of them to just keep on doubling the attack point. So he would double it, make it 600, double it again, make it 1,200, double it again, make it 24, and then double it again to make it 48. So if it is indeed just double the original attack power, then yeah, the guy in the anime cheated. Unless like YgoPro has the wrong effects. So that, okay, so going by the anime, from what I remember, the idea is to double the attack points and just get them to being really high attack power, beating over, and then, oh hey, your opponent tries to do something, you just bounce all your Royal Cookpals and then destroy those monsters, preventing them from doing stuff. There's a few issues with this though. First and foremost, the destruction targets. Okay. Secondly, it destroys. There you go. Two big problems. Okay. Targeting and destroying. A lot of cards, especially in the meta, say you cannot target me, and they say you can't. And if you destroy me, oh hey, look at that! I floated some another copy. So yeah, like, imagine doing against Cosmos with this. Like, oh dear God. Okay. Oh hey, you can't target me. And oh hey, if you do destroy me, hey, look at that! Here comes another little ship. So yeah, this deck is very interesting in how it plays, and I think the guy in the anime might have cheated, unless YgoPro just has the effect slightly wrong. Anyways, onto the spell cards. First up is Food Fraud, or Meal Ticket Abuse, as it was called in the OCG, I suppose. Add 2 Royal Cookpals from your deck to your hand. It cannot be normal or special in this turn. Just general Rhoda. It doesn't even have a cost. It just says add 2. Like, what? And since it's Food Fraud, that kind of also makes sense. Now, the only issue is you can't summon those monsters that you add, which isn't really a big thing since this deck takes a while to set up. I remember the guy in the anime took a few turns to get everything all set up, and you'll see that with the trap cards and some of these spells as well. This deck does take a while to get set up, and once it gets going, it was like brutal in the anime from what I remember. But again, like, we're talking about the anime, not real life. In real life, this would be very nice, just getting to add 2 cards for free. Anyways, so next up is Instant Cooking. Special summon as many Royal Cookpal monsters as possible from your hand, whose levels are less than or equal to the total levels of all monsters your opponent controls. Here's the issue with this card. If you're doing against a rank, if you're doing against an Exceed Spam deck, they have ranks, not levels. So really, honestly, this card would be a lot better if they made it to where it also counted ranks as well. Other than that, I feel like this card would be printed and just be fine for the archetype in general. However, I do wish it could also summon the standard Cookpals, because don't forget, we got Cookbait Onion, Cookpal Lion Onion over here. Lion, as I'm going to call him, because it's just punnier. So yeah, Lion Onion, I can't do it. Too many bad puns. The Onion dude over here, he's a level 5, and it would be really nice to summon 2 of these off of this. Just saying. Anyway, so I'll need to consider a spell card. Royal recipes. Once per turn, you can specimen any number of royal Cookpal monsters from your hand in attack position up to the number of cards underneath a food cemetery you control. Then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each monster special summon. So, this card heavily relies on the trap card Food Cemetery, which we will go ahead and talk about over here. We'll move it so that we can just go right into it. So this card and this whole deck really, honestly, heavily relies on Food Cemetery. It has other ways to do stuff, but it just mainly relies on Food Cemetery, really. So, now then, what is Food Cemetery? This is it right here. Continuous trap card. Activate this card by placing underneath this card all Cookpal monsters that were sent to the graveyard during this turn. Add a number of Cookpal monsters from your deck to your hand equal to the number of cards that were placed underneath this card. If you control more monsters than the number of cards underneath this card, destroy all cards you control. So, from what I remember in the anime, the guy who plays this deck, he just swarmed out the field with all of these dudes. And that Yuya destroyed them all, and then he activated this, put all of these guys under Food Cemetery, and then added one of every one of these, and then just spammed out the board. So that's the general idea of this deck. You let your opponent destroy your dudes, you activate this, put them all underneath Food Cemetery, and then you activate this, and then summon out these things. Which is really nice, but again, the issue here is that it it's a continuous trap card, and really, unless you're going to play the trap card that protects other trap cards, I can't remember what it's called, your whole deck can fall apart from a simple MST, and we got MST, Twin Twister, Dust Tornado, that new quick play spell card that banishes the spell trap card, I can't remember what it's called, and Cosmos have Swift Strider, Blue Eyes have White Spirit Dragon, so I feel like if this card had some way of protecting it, or if there was another way to protect it, like an in-house way, it'd be really, really nice. Next up is Canning Cuisine. Oh god, it's murder of the Cookpals! When your opponent adds a card from your deck to the hand, except during their normal draw, place an equal number of Cookpal monsters from your deck under one food cemetery you control. I actually quite like this card. It basically just allows you to keep up with your opponent and just spam out the board with more Cookpals. The issue is, again, Food Cemetery and how heavily the deck relies on it. With again, simple MST could really destroy it. Next up is Metabolic Storm. I swear this looks like it could be a fusion spell card, or trap card I should say, but it's not. If a monster is destroyed by the effect of a royal Cookpal monster this turn, inflict damage to their controllers equal to the total attack of their monsters that were destroyed by the effect of a royal Cookpal monster. So, basically, if you activate all 5 of these little dudes' effects to destroy 5 monsters, your opponent just pendulum summon. Okay, like best case scenario. Okay, and you activated all their effects, and your opponent takes. Let's see here. It just basically destroys, like, let's say you destroy a Pendulum Sorcerer, a Luster Pendulum, an Odd Eyes, another Odd Eyes, so that'd be IV4, and I don't know, Wisdom Eye. Okay, so that would be a crap ton of damage from this card, and it would also, well, it almost cause your opponent to lose the game right then and there. And that's the main way that this deck wins, is through Metabolic Storm, disrupting your opponent, and just doing a crap ton of burn damage. Like, really, that's the only way for the deck to win. And, I mean, like, yeah, sure, you can keep bouncing your stuff, and then you can keep summoning them back out and doing 300 damage through the effective royal recipes, and then you can try and finish off your opponent with Metabolic Storm, and especially if you're doing against a Pendulum deck that can easily win you the game right then and there. Take Pendulum 5, and then you use all 5 of these things to bounce everything back. The issue, again, is just how, like, I mean, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, for the whole archetype, but the whole destruction and targeting with all the Royal Cookpals, it's a big issue. Next up is Monster Pie! I swear, whenever I read this card, I thought of Monster House for some reason. That's a good movie. Anyway, so if an opponent's monster leaves the field while you control a Cookpal monster, special summon 1 Monster Pie token to your opponent's side of the field. Monster Pie token is a spellcaster type, Dark, level 3, attack 5,000, and defense 1,000. When a Monster Pie token is destroyed, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. And you get 1 token for each monster that, that was destroyed. Okay. Or leaves the field while you control one of these dudes. Which is really, really nice. So you can potentially do 5,000 damage to your opponent, I suppose. at max if your opponent has 5 Monster Pie tokens out. The issue with this card is that whenever you make an opponent's monster leave the field, generally speaking, it's going to be 1 monster at a time. So, yeah, it's okay. It's not very good either, but it just enhances the whole burning aspect of this deck. So, now then, if this deck was printed as is, right, with just these card effects, would it be good? Honestly, no, not really. It'd be very annoying for lower tier decks to deal with, but that'd be about it. The other issue, again, okay, so what would I change for this archetype be printed? First and foremost, I would definitely make it to where they just double the attack, not the original attack. I'm pretty sure that's just YgoPro getting the effects wrong on these cards. I hope that is at least, otherwise the guy in the anime was cheating. I actually kind of want that to be the case, because that'd be hilarious. With that being said, I'd also like to see Eggong be able to summon from the deck. I would like to see Ryan doesn't even have some way to summon himself. Like, seriously, like, make it to where if you control a Cookpal, you can special summon him. I'd like to see some way to protect Food Cemetery, and some way to search out Food Cemetery and Regal Recipes. Okay, I thought it said Royal Recipes earlier, but hey, it's Regal. So I'd like to see some way to search out these two, especially since the deck is so heavily reliant on it. If you don't get these 2 cards out, you don't win. You don't even stand a chance. Like, really, honestly, let's face it. That's kind of why Eggong floats as much as he does. I mean, constantly being able to summon another copy of him. Granted, though, yes, there's Castell and, what was it called again? Ignister to just shuffle it back to the deck, but seriously, though, you can't just rely on this little dude. So, with that being said, I'd like to see some way to search out these and protect these as well at that. And I'd like to see some way to special summon Mine Onion and just make it to where these guys just double the attack points, and maybe even make it to where they don't target. Okay, keep the destruction factor, because that's like the whole point of this deck. But make it to where they don't target, because as long as they target, they're not going to be able to really handle a lot of the bigger decks, and, well, that's just a big issue. And heck, even smaller decks just say, oh, hey, you can't target me, or hey, I have a monster that can't be targeted. So, with all that being said, I really would like to see this deck get a buff, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. I tried to think about it, with those effects with these guys. And add some variety to them. I mean, yeah, it's nice that they all have the exact same effect, but seriously, like, give them some other things. Like, maybe an effect in the graveyard or in the hand or something. Like, I don't know, King Burger could be like, okay, you can discard, and a Cookpal to draw 2 or something, and like Queen Alma could be like, okay, you can discard, and a Cookpal to, I don't know, set a Food Cemetery from deck or something. Like, seriously, these things do nothing in hand, neither do these things, and I'd like to see something, like, incorporate it like that, so these all have a reason to be played, other than just, oh, hey, we all have the same effect, and you can push out for, let's see here, 3, 6, 12, 24, 48 damage. And with 1 monster. You know, like, that's the big issue. Anyways, guys, so that's my thoughts on Cookpals. They're interesting. I don't think they'd be very, very good as they are right now, especially if YgoPro has the wording on over here correct. I don't know if they do or not, but hey, whatever. So guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what you guys think about the Cookpal and Royal Cookpal archetypes. They're very interesting. Kind of making me hungry, but whatever. And I really feel like that Konami could do a lot more for this deck, especially if they do end up printing it or not. So guys, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See you all later, and peace.